Dragon Stalker, Crypt Stalker, Demon Stalker, Rift Stalker, Grom Stalker, Crypt Stalker, Scourge Stalker, Wind Runner. I'm a pony, elite skilled hunter. A death dealer, a life stealer. That's just the cost of being awesome.
Welcome to episode 221 of the Hunting Party Podcast. I'm Dark Brew from thebrewhall.com and the Brew Hall on Twitter.
I'm Bendak from Eyes of the Beast, Blizzard Watch, and Bendak WoW on Twitter.
Today is Sunday, July 12th, 2015, and we are broadcasting live on twitch.tv. You can participate in the live chat room where our lovely moderator, Ali Sonder, is there to take your questions. And please, if you have a question to ask, this is a great week to ask us lots of questions because there's not a lot of Hunter news going on and not a lot of Hunter hosts here either. Delirium, I think he's out doing his sort of annual summer backpack, get back to nature, thrill of the wild type stuff, if you will. And Artemis isn't here, although she may pop in later. Not sure where she went today. But Bendak, you and I are here. And so we'll probably cover a lot of more general World of Warcraft stuff, which is fine because there's actually been some pretty interesting things going on between Comic-Con this week and that interview that was probably a little week or two old, but talking about patch 6.2. So we'll get into all of that. And also before we start, I've been told today is Michelle Morrow's birthday. So Michelle, if you happen to be out there listening, happy birthday to you. I saw her all about doing a lot of stuff over at San Diego Comic-Con with the Warcraft movie. So I'm sure she's busy and having a good time. So let's try and squeeze in something Hunter related. And I was thinking about this because I've seen a couple of people ask about this. The Skull of War trinket, is that worth upgrading at all? Does that fit into the current list of trinkets that we have available in 6.2? That's the Dark Moon Fair trinket. I think it has crit as its proc.
Yeah, I guess it depends where you're coming from. It's the problem with it for marksmanship is it has an internal cooldown of roughly 2 minutes, which is the same cooldown as rapid fire, which gives you careful aim. So a lot of that crit is just going to go to waste from the proc,
I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah. So and it is a proc. It's not an unused trinket. So in other words, you're going to just have too much crit going on, so you really won't be taking advantage of it. So that's the downside to that particular trinket.
It's not to say it's a bad trinket. It's just compared to anything from Hellfire, I don't think it's as good. Yeah. Except for maybe that Fellspring coil, like the normal version. Maybe perhaps it's better than that. But I think everything else is probably better.
Yeah, and and it would be expensive to upgrade too because you have to. I'm assuming it's gonna, but you're gonna need 90 Fellblight for that.
Yeah.
Well,
it's dropping in price a little bit.
Has it? What's it like on your server? It's still around. It's under 500 now. On
I've seen
realm.
it as low as 300. So
okay, that's pretty good. I've been trying to farm it up a little bit on my own, and it's just really slow going. Almost to the point where if you're trying to get it, farm it, it's almost not worth it. I mean, if I go on Dark Brew, I can only do it with fishing, which is really slow.
Yeah, that's the only thing I tried to was fishing. I say I get like 1 Fellblight every 10 pools, maybe, if I'm lucky.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I've heard some people say, well, maybe you can get real lucky and get 5 from, 1 cast, but that seems, I haven't had that happen. I suspect that's few and far between.
I've also a couple of hours trying fishing and herbalism, and I've had a total of 3 the entire weeks we've been here.
Yeah, I've tried it on skinning too. I've taken one of my other hunters out there who's not geared very well, although I did read your guide. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit in just a minute here. And I've just haven't really tried to gear him up too much, just really gone out into certain areas and killed a bunch of mobs and have tried skinning them. And again, even the drop rate seems very low there to the point where you definitely feel like you're grinding, and it's not very enjoyable. And I just get bored with it very, very fast.
Yeah. Well, I know Delirium said I think he farmed up 90 Fellblights from skinning, but obviously he was more geared than your alt. so he could kill stuff really fast.
Yeah, my alt went in there at like a 590 gear level,
Oh,
which was
God.
yeah.
That's bad for Tanan.
Yeah, it was tough. You could certainly take on. Well, elites were very difficult. Not worth fighting elite mobs, and the regular mobs, were fine. It's just that you couldn't do like groups and groups. If you get like multiple mobs on you, you were pretty much done for because the pet would just get killed right away, and that was a mess. A lot of people are mentioning Doomlord Kazakh or whatever he's called now as a good way to farm the Fellblight.
Yeah, especially if you have alts you can take there, because every alt's going to get at least 10 or so Fellblight. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, so maybe that's probably the way to do it. Is just find a group and bring the alts in there and get a couple hits on them or whatever. Do the best I can to defeat them, but get the Fellblight that way. Because 715 eye level gear for some of the pieces is nice. That's a pretty good upgrade.
Yep. Especially the gun.
Well, the gun goes up to what, 705, correct?
705, yeah.
Yeah, 705. I wish they would make that 715. That would be nice but I'm working towards that. Although I saw someone, I guess you can, if you get like the Mythic Warforged out of a heroic dungeon, you can get that. That's also a 705 eye level, so that's another source of getting a ranged weapon.
Yeah, and those aren't too bad, as long as you're going with a organized group.
Right.
They're not too difficult, really. It's more of you just have a certain level of gear and you can pass through it pretty easily. They're actually kind of fun.
Yeah. So one of the chat room Fartex in the chat says, "Is it totally worth it to go for the gun?" I think having a 705 weapon is definitely worth having. How does and the gun, right? You can customize the stats, right? You can make the item and you can get the exact itemization stats you want. So it would be better than the gun that drops off the first boss in Hellfire Citadel.
Right.
And heroic.
That's the heroic first boss is 705. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also haste and mastery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's worth it. Like, if you're already clearing heroics, then there's a good chance you might get your hands on the second or third weapon. But I haven't seen any drop yet, and I've gone through those bosses like 3 times, so I don't regret crafting mine.
Yeah, like I said, it depends on how you're going. If you're taking your time to farm up the stuff, if you're doing normal versus heroic, like we're more or less in normal. We're just going to progress through normal for the time being. We stepped into heroic because we thought we'd just knock out the first boss, but we seem to struggle with it, and I can't help but feel like it's like we're doing something wrong. I don't think it's a gear issue, only because the 690, even some of the 695 gear that drops out of normal, aren't upgrades for anybody.
Yeah.
Outside of the tier pieces and the trinkets, everything's getting DE'd. Nothing. No one's taking anything. So I don't think it's a gear issue with that first boss in heroic. We'll talk about him for a second. You're starting to clear through some of the heroic bosses. What's your strategy for that first boss? Is there anything special you're doing? I feel like it's an ad management fight, and we're not managing the ads very well.
It's pretty much just ad prioritizing. We just prioritize the siege engines, and then after that it's the gore-bound fellcasters, the ones that start chain casting on the raid.
Mm-hmm.
They start out as regular fellcasters, and then they go through metamorphosis, and then they start doing the chain casting. So those guys are really top priority, and beyond that, it's the big guys, the berserkers. And then the rest just kind of gets AoE'd down. So what's happening to you guys? Is your cannons being destroyed?
No, it's not. It's not that the cannon's being destroyed. I feel like we're stuck with too many ads. We have too many of the same type of ad, like the gore-bound fellcasters. When they metamorphosize and they turn into the terrors, I guess sometimes they'll have as many as 2 up at once. And I just feel like we're not separating, people aren't interrupting, or quite what it is. But we feel like we're starting to get overrun with ads too quickly. in that fight, and that's what's killing us.
Well, a lot of people, the problem too is they focus on the AoE damage instead of single target damage. Even though there's a lot of ads, you need to like focus down those gore-bound things one at a time and just get them, especially when they get low health and they start to transform. You just have to get them dead really quick.
So, and that's the question too. And this is my understanding that they transform. It's not a timing issue. It's not after they've been up for a certain amount of time. It's based on the amount of damage that they take. Correct? I mean, so once their health gets to
honestly, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it's when they get low health. That's when they transform.
Right. Yeah, that's what I think too. And so I think that's what's going on is everyone just sees all those ads out there and they start AoEing, and so there's a lot of cleave damage and AoE damage, and as a result, those guys are transforming too quickly, faster than they might, and we're just getting overrun.
Basically, you have to look at the damage breakdown in SCADA or whatever, and just see who is, like, who's doing high damage to those targets and who isn't, and then just tell them that, focus on single target instead of AoE.
Yeah. Because of course, obviously, because he drops a ranged weapon, it would be nice, yeah. Even as just to get that, or just to be doing heroic in general. Because I think that we're probably capable of doing it, but so I think it's just a strategy. But it is amazing to see the difference in difficulty from that and normal. Because normal, it's just
I was
not
going
an
to say
issue.
that too. The difference between normal and heroic is much bigger than it's been, like this whole expansion. Like they usually, it was just heroic was just bigger numbers, but there's some like extra mechanics here and there, or some mechanics are more difficult. I don't know if you've done Fell Lord Zakuun. It's the one that pops the pillars up. You have to
No, we haven't done that one yet. As far as we've gotten in with normal is Gorfiend. We defeated Gorfiend last week, so we're just ready to move on now.
Well, one big example is Zakuun. He raises these pillars from the ground, and basically, say he's going to raise like 4 of them. The goal, you want to soak 3 of them and just let one of them come up, because one of them's always going to come up. But if you soak 3 of them, you can choose which one comes up. And basically, you don't want things to hit them. That's why you want to do this. Anyway, you get a debuff when you soak it, and it's pretty bad, because if you get hit with any of these waves that are flying around, you explode on the entire raid.
Oh my!
And that debuff lasts for 2 minutes, so it's pretty stressful when you get it. But in normal, it only lasts for 20 seconds, so it's just completely. It just almost trivializes it compared to the heroic version. There's a lot. I'm surprised. Like, heroic is really difficult. It seems like, I don't know. I think a lot of guilds too that were, really far along in Mythics in Blackrock Foundry. They're having a lot of trouble on some of these heroic bosses, even with all of their gear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Like I said, just the first boss seemed like a pretty big step up between normal and heroic, and I don't know if the expectation is that you would clear normal and gear up from there. I mean, most of the gear that would be useful doesn't drop until towards the end of the to the end of the instance. So once you get to the end bosses and start getting the higher level gear, you start getting the 705 gear out of normal. Does it seem like that's when you really, be geared enough to perhaps overcome some of the damage that's flying around in heroic?
Yeah. And once you kill Gorfiend 4 times, you can skip past him and get to the better bosses. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, the only hesitation to do that, against doing that, of course, is trying to get everybody at least those 2 pieces of tier, as well as getting the tomes for the legendary.
Well, I think you could still go back and do those tier bosses, I'm guessing, and just skip the first ones if you don't need them.
Oh, that's a good point too. It's right. It's not like they're dead, right? You're just advancing, choosing where you're going to start in the instance. So, which actually is just kind of nice. That's kind of nice that they implement something like that, which would allow you to kind of advance ahead and start on a later boss like that without having to save your lockout, and lock yourself out of those other bosses. So that's kind of a nice thing.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if there'll be another quest after that, so you can skip even further. Like if you kill like Zul Harak or Tyrant Velhari 4 times, if you'd be able to skip to Manaroth.
Maybe that would be a nice thing to do.
Of course, you shouldn't really be in any rush.
No, I know. Well, we can talk about that. Yeah, that's right. There was an interview a couple weeks back, and they announced that basically 6.2 is going to be the final patch of Warlords of Draenor, and of course that would mean Hellfire Citadel is the last raid of the expansion. So, I mean, I'm surprised and I'm not surprised. I mean, it certainly felt like the final patch of the expansion, but it just seems like it's a little bit too soon for it to be the final patch of the expansion.
Well, yeah, final raid. They still
Final
might
raid.
have some kind of patch, but
True.
not sure how significant it would be.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if they just, I don't know what they would give us in a content patch. I mean, I can't imagine them doing another Tannan jungle like zone for us to quest and do that. And if there was going to be a 6.3, that seems like a lot of work.
Yeah,
Maybe the selfie cam needs another upgrade.
Oh man.
But the thing about this is, we know there's another expansion coming, but nobody knows really when, or they haven't announced anything about it. And I mean,
Well, that's the thing. I think you can assume it's going to be announced at BlizzCon, right?
I would assume so too. They've never not done the announcements at BlizzCon, right? So
that means, assuming that means the beta can't start before then. So
right?
The earliest the beta can start is right after BlizzCon, which is probably unlikely, but maybe. And then the betas usually last 4 to 6 months.
Yep.
So we're looking at basically a year of 6.2.
Almost, and that's the thing. That's sort of kind of the math I've kind of, the speculation math I've done in my head too, is that announce the expansion at BlizzCon, like you said. Best case would be to, start the beta right after BlizzCon, and then 4 to 6 months of beta testing, and then maybe release it May or June, kind of around the same time as when the movie comes out. And
yeah. That's another thing it lines up with, is if they could tie it in with the movie, which I'm sure they will somehow. So June does seem pretty likely.
Yeah, I would think June would likely, and that's certainly it would be interesting because it would make Warlords of Draenor the shortest expansion I think they would have had on record, but it still makes patch 6.2 one of the longer content patches, longer raid tiers that they've had. Not as long as Siege of Orgrimmar, but certainly on par with Dragon Soul and perhaps ICC. I mean, and that was one of the big problems. The big things that people complained about was, oh my God, we're in Siege of Orgrimmar for a year here, and we're tired of it. And it sounds like now the same thing is going to happen with Hellfire Citadel, that we could be in there almost as long, and
Well, I think whatever happens, that the game will come out at least a month before the movie does, just so they can get any bugs out of the way before the influx of movie attenders comes, because like when we had the start of Draenor, that was 3 weeks of really unpleasantness, and they don't want to scare people away.
At the very least, I can see them putting out like the pre-patch before the movie comes out.
Yeah.
And have some kind of in-game tie-in event, which would be really cool.
Yeah.
The movie.
They haven't really done those expansion events since Kata, have they? I mean,
they did one for Warlords of Draenor.
Did they?
Yeah.
What was it? Oh, right.
It was short, right? I mean, it was
Dark
just a
Portal.
series of, the Dark Portal. Yeah, it was just a series of quests out in Badlands, not Badlands.
Blasted Lands.
Blasted.
But so I mean, it just seems like they still have pacing issues with these expansions, and right now they seem to have been able to figure out how to deliver the middle content faster, but the end content, the final patch, they haven't really figured out a way to close the gap, it seems, as far as we can know, between that final raid tier of an expansion and then the start of the next expansion. And that seems like it's just going to be just as long as it's ever been. So I don't know how much has really been accomplished here.
It's possible this could just be like a transition period
Mm-hmm.
to their new whatever they plan on for releasing expansions, the whole faster expansions they've been talking about for so long. Maybe it's going to happen, and this is just the Warlords is just a weird transition expansion to that new model.
Yeah, you may very well be right. I mean, that could be true. It's like they've got the mechanism or the formula in place to do it, and this is sort of like this hybrid, this last holdout between the old and transitioning into the new. So,
because if they were doing expansions that fast, I'd assume they'd always be 2 tiers like this one.
right. Yeah, and 2 tiers is fine. I mean, there's nothing that says we have to have 3 raids or 4 raids. I mean, just as long as they keep giving us new stuff. I mean, that's really what what people want. I mean, I guess what it does sort of call into question, though, is are they going to continue to charge, $40 for each one of these expansions? And do you feel like you're really getting
Actually, they raised it to $50 last
50?
time.
Yeah.
Well, the real question is because there was only the 3, because it was dungeons and stuff. So I guess it is 3 raids. Just doesn't feel like it.
Well, they have 3 raids. It was really just 2 tiers this time around. They had the the high mall, which didn't really give you any tier gears. Nothing was set bonuses, and then they had Blackrock Foundry, which they opened up a little bit later. But they were both really part of the opening of the expansion, if you will. I mean, they were tested in the beta and so forth. But you had mentioned, Bendek possibly doing a tie-in with the movie, and that frightens me just a little bit. I mean, it would make sense for them to do that, but I can't think of any real good way to do that without continuing the whole time travel expansion.
Well, what if they had some kind of like time walking / Caverns of Time dungeon special event or something? Play something from the movie or something like that.
Yeah, and that might be fine. That wouldn't be such a bad thing because we've done that before, right? Where we've gone back and experienced like certainly the Arthas dungeons and all those others. So yeah, that would actually be kind of fun, right? To go see some of the Warcraft one and see some, if they create like a zone that looks like Stormwind or Old Orgrimmar or something like that. That would be fun. But I just can't imagine, a whole expansion where we go back into like alternate Azeroth or even, leave Draenor and find ourselves back in our own Azeroth, but, 35 years, earlier than when we left it. It just seems too kind of gimmicky and I don't think people really want that. I don't know. I don't want that. I wouldn't want to see that.
No.
I don't think people want it, but I've been saying for a long time that it's reasonable if you extract the story the way the story's been going. There's even in Neverbloom literally a portal that goes directly to right over Stormwind. So if the demons wanted to, they could have just gone straight through that at any time, and there would be 30 years ago at Azeroth.
Right.
So.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm obviously this storyline has to continue, and the Burning Legion have to be a part of whatever we do next. But I almost rather see us go to wherever it is that they're hiding out. If there's some place we can go to and kind of take the fight to them and end it once and for all, I think that might make for a more interesting expansion than going back and all of a sudden we're in the same setting that the Warcraft movie is in, and that's the game that we're playing.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do that. Like, I hope not.
Because the movie, I'm sure it'll be good. Even if it's good, it's only going to be in theaters, month or two, right? I mean, it's it'll come out in June, and by end of July, early August, will have been forgotten about. You might see it if it's good. You might see it again, and then, but
It'll definitely bring a lot of attention towards the game, though, because a lot of people that see the movie won't be Warcraft players, and then if they like the movie, they'll be like, I wonder what game this is based on. Maybe I should try it out. So that's why I think it's very likely the next expansion will be right around then.
Yeah.
Or at least the pre-patch, just with like actual content that somehow ties in, even if it's just a little event, you know.
Yeah. And I think that'd be fine. But yeah, I agree. So I think, that the expansion probably, like I said, I think it'll be announced at BlizzCon, like you say. And it sounds like we might even get the Warcraft teaser, or not the actual Warcraft movie trailer shown at BlizzCon. Because it was mentioned, I guess, I didn't, I saw some of the stuff on Twitter. I mean, at the Warcraft movie panel over at San Diego Comic-Con yesterday. I was hoping they were going to show the trailer, but they didn't have the trailer to show. They did show like several minutes of footage from the film.
5 to 6 minutes. Yeah.
Which isn't going to be released anywhere as far as we know. So they were just for the people that were lucky enough to be in the room to see it.
Saw 2 seconds of it on YouTube.
Did you? How did it look? Did it look good? I mean,
it was really poorly filmed. Like, you could tell whoever was filming it was just desperately trying not to get noticed. Saw like a quick flash of
gotcha.
Durotan, I think. I'm guessing that was him. And then, yeah. I saw a couple other pictures of some of the characters. There was like Garona, a couple of the orcs.
Yeah, I saw some of those images. I think were still up on MMO Champion, and it all looks really, really good.
Yeah.
But then
people were comparing it to all the orc scenes. They're comparing it to Avatar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it's fully CG and all that stuff.
A lot of CGI, a lot of CG. But Duncan Jones did mention on Twitter that the trailer would be released in November, no date specified. But obviously, with BlizzCon being in November, it just makes total sense that they would premiere it there. And then, of course, it would be available to everybody to see online at that point. So, yeah. I mean, I guess that certainly would be that's what people are hoping for. It's and that'll be fun too if you're at BlizzCon and you go to that panel and see it up on a bigger screen and be in a group of Warcraft fans. That will certainly be a fun moment to be sure. But beyond that, they really didn't reveal too much else about the movie itself yesterday.
Nope.
And they didn't hand out mini Doom hammers or take anyone away to like a Russell Brower concert or anything like that. not like what the Star Wars folks got.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
But so what else we want to talk about? I mean, we have there's the Mythic Hellfire progression. We got 2 guilds, Method and Paragon. They're both 12 or 13. So they're working on Archimond. Now, Ali, you had something interesting. So what happened to Method yesterday? They were kind of they had a game glitch with their raid ID. What happened with them?
Well, I woke up and I was looking at SCO's Twitter for the latest updates on the race, and they said that when I saw it, it was 6 hours timestamped, and they had lost their raid ID, and every time they would try and log in, it would give that message that said, your group you're not in the group that's in this raid, and kick everybody back out over and over and over and over and over. So they had been battering Blizzard trying to get somebody to fix this. I think Blizzard did send out a reply that said, okay, we're aware of this, we're working on it. But I think it was like 10 hours before it was solved. So that's a lot of time, especially at this really critical time. And somebody else pointed out that with all the changes that are being made on CTR, Darius just pointed out that all these changes they're making to the bosses can upset some strategy that somebody has that they've been working on for the past 2 days, and just negate all that strategy. So this is really, really a bad thing to happen at a really bad time in the race.
Yeah, especially on a weekend too, when they probably arguably have had a lot more time to play than that. Not that that's a huge issue, but certainly, it would be a Saturday or certainly a day where you can focus on this, with probably fewer distractions than you might have during the week. So,
right, and that's wasting time that they're literally awake, and that's kind of important because you can only be awake so long, then you got to sleep because your performance is dropping. So it's really, really. I hope it doesn't affect them because I was really hoping that they would be done by today. That I actually thought they would be, but they're not. Although
I mean,
somebody said Exorcist is up to 1213 as well. And I think they're the Russian one that nobody can pronounce.
Same ones behind the add-on.
Probably.
Exorcist Ray Tools, yeah.
Yeah. Midwinter, good old US. They're still, they're still 11, I think.
which is good. I mean, that's still
Yeah, especially
it's
because
still
they
very
don't
good.
raid nearly as much as anybody else does. So they're doing amazingly well for, I don't want to call them a casual guild, but hardcore casual, baby.
They're not even, they're hardcore.
Well, they're hardcore with jobs, though.
Yeah, they're still in
Yeah.
the top 5, so.
Yeah, we'll have to get Roger back on and talk about this. I'd like to find out too, because we know that a big part of what allows them to get these done is that repetition is just putting in all these multiple attempts, hundreds of attempts. So to not be able to go in there for 10 hours, does at that level I'm sure it can set you back because it's that repetition, that practice, those attempts. But I mean, I wonder what the difference is in terms of what they're doing is between, say, attempt number 50 and attempt number 150. I mean, to the point where, and then that final attempt where they actually get it. I mean, I wonder what the difference is between those earlier attempts and then the one where they finally get it.
In my experience, is just getting everyone in the raid to learn the fight as like muscle memory, basically, and then eventually it just all clicks. And then, of course, there's developing strategies and all that. But
Yeah.
because I know, like, a lot of it is strategy too. Because I think it was with Blackhand. I forget the exact numbers. I just know that Method's first kill was like hundreds of pulls less than the people who killed it after Method. So, I don't know. They must have had some kind of secret sauce.
Maybe, and I don't know how often they change their strategies at all along the way, especially the deeper they get into it. I imagine they probably have a strategy that they believe will work, and then it's just a matter of everybody learning it, hoping that little bit of RNG that can sometimes make the difference between you killing something and wiping, goes your way as well. Although they do get these things on farm, shortly thereafter.
Yeah, that's a lot of it is that when it just clicks with everyone, the next time you come there, it's just still just as hard, and you don't have that much more gear. It's just, it's still in your muscle memory. It's just,
Yep. Yeah, everyone knows what they're doing. It's not just like it's not just that way for those guys. Although I swear that they seem to put in more attempts on these things than perhaps the rest of us.
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of attempts.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it's like when I get to 30, I'm like, oh man, this is rough.
Yeah, I know. I remember, what was it, years ago, Syndragosa putting in over 50 attempts and never felt like we were even that close at that point in time. Still felt like we had a ways to go before getting her down. But that seemed like a lot of attempts.
Yeah, I gotta say, Archimond is really tough. Even on normal mode, it's really tough.
Have you beaten him on normal? Have you defeated him now?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've killed 9 in heroic, but I haven't got him on normal yet.
9 in heroic still pretty good though. That's a good. So have you gotten all of your tier or?
Nope. Still, I'm at 3 pieces, so I'm not even wearing it because the 2-piece is so bad.
Yeah, the 2-piece. And you're playing as marksmanship or BM?
Marks.
Marks, yeah. Yeah, and so the 2-piece what extends gives you rapid fire for 4 seconds, right?
It's a really low chance though.
Is it?
If your Chimera shot crits, then you have a 40% chance to get it. So it's really bad.
So basically, it's almost like it's non-existent then. So
it's okay. It's a lot nicer once you get the 4-piece because you can actually take advantage of it.
Sure.
Because when you don't have the 4-piece, you can only really get 1 aim shot in that window to take advantage of the crit bonus. But when you have the 4-piece, you could potentially get 3 in there. So
Yeah, the 4-piece is nice. So you're hanging on to your 4-piece of tier 17 then,
yeah.
rather than breaking into 2 pieces of tier 18 at this point.
Well, part of that's because 2 of my tier 18 pieces are normals, so it's not an eye level upgrade really to use them. So
Right.
So it's just not really worth it.
Right. But if you had heroic pieces of tier, would the 2 pieces of heroic probably be worth breaking up your 4-piece?
Probably, yeah.
But again, that's mainly because of the stats that you're getting on those pieces of gear rather than versus the proc, obviously, because the proc isn't any. They didn't do scaling procs, right? I mean, I think the Trinket, the Archimon Trinket scales,
right,
with eye level, but I don't think the tier pieces do in terms of
they don't.
The proc. They don't. They're that's just the same for each eye level that you get. Which
Yeah,
makes sense.
I haven't had the best luck in Hellfire, loot wise. Like, I mean, yeah, I got those pieces of tier, but no trinkets, no, my bonus rolls don't give me anything. I think I'm wearing like 2 pieces of Hellfire gear or something like that, and I've killed all the like 12 normal bosses 3 times, and the heroic bosses, I don't know, a bunch of those too. So I'm just waiting for my lucky break.
Yeah, I got the. Which boss was it? The council boss. Anyway, I did bonus roll the Mirror of the Blade Master
Oh, I'm jealous.
normal trinket. That's a weird trinket. It's nice. It's an on-use trinket, which is always good with a 1-minute cooldown. But I kind of like the on-use trinkets from time to time, just because you can control when you want to use it. But it seems weird. It seems like it puts your mirror images in like one place, like whatever the target is, and they don't. And it just seems like it stays on that target or in that
Yeah, that's
position.
how it works. They don't move once you place them down, but
You know?
they do a lot of damage though.
Mm-hmm.
On an AOE fight, like say Zul Harak or something like that, they can do like 10% or more of your damage easily. Just those mirror images.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun trinket, but you have to, think about when you want to use it too. Just don't want to pop it for the sake of popping it, especially if you're attacking some low health target. Which I did like the first couple of times. I just saw the mirror images just spinning in place, going, and there's nothing there for them to attack. I just feel like it's wasted.
Yeah,
But
you just gotta be a bit strategic with it. Like maybe not always. If there's ads running all over the place, like on Gorefiend, just throw it on the boss and then go back to the ads.
Exactly. That's exactly the fight in that situation. Where I'll hang on to it, like I say, toss it on the boss, and then let it, and then just go back to single targeting the ads or doing what I need to do.
It lines up with rapid fire too, so that's good.
It does. Yeah.
They do scale with the haste, so it's also worth noting for Beast Mastery, it only summons 2 images instead of 4 because they inherit the mastery.
Okay.
So, or else it would just be absolutely insane if they summon 4.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't realize that. Like I said, I've been playing marksmanship most of the way out here, just to try and get used to it. And I'm enjoying it again. It's fun. I haven't really decided whether or not I should give Lone Wolf. I haven't given Lone Wolf another look because I just like having the pets with me. But I might have to rethink that on some of the fights and just decide that maybe Lone Wolf is a smarter way to go on certain fights.
It's really strong on any kind of cleave fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for that extra Chimera shot damage. So you're just using focusing shot?
I had been using focusing shot. I like focusing shot.
Yeah. And that focusing shot is really good once you get the 4-piece bonus.
Yeah. But I think maybe this week I'll try and mix in a little bit more Lone Wolf, because especially on some of the ad heavy fights.
Yeah, I did. Go ahead.
Now, as I say, the other downside to it is on some of these fights too, especially if your pet has to move around from ad to ad or things aren't necessarily close to one another, you lose some of that running time that the pet has to do, to get from one target to the other.
Yeah, I actually this week in the normal run, I played BM for about half the fights just to play around with it. It wasn't too bad. It's actually really nice on some fights, like Zul'Harrak. There's just this constant ad spawning these imps, and it's just really nice to be able to cleave them down all the time. So it's Beast Mastery. It's not totally useless. It's just there's some fights, like you said, where your pet has to run around. Where that's the biggest problem in my eyes.
Yeah, well, that's a good. We can talk about BM because we actually have a question from someone from the WHU Facebook. They were asking this on there, and they said, well, they had just listened to the latest Hunting Party podcast. This is someone named Nikki, and a lot of the subject matter revolved around how well the MM spec is doing. It says, I really enjoy BM. So the question is, how far behind is BM, and am I bad if I don't play MM? And we get a lot of those questions anytime there's a spec like marksmanship that seems to be the front runner. Everyone sort of questions whether or not they're a bad person if they don't play marksmanship. But you're using BM on some fights, right? So I mean, how do those two stack up right now? Now that we're about 3 weeks into Hellfire Citadel here,
it's not bad. It's just if you're not okay, if you're doing like cutting edge progression, you probably don't want to play it just because it's so important that these ads die and things like that. And you're just at such a disadvantage if you're not playing marksmanship for those cases. But if you're like not like attempting heroic Archimond or going into mythics, like just play BM. It's fine. I mean, I don't think there's any problems with it really. But when you get to the more difficult progression, that's where marksmanship starts shining a bit more.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily because marksmanship does more damage overall, like on the meters. It's because of those important ads, which is like all of Hellfire seems to be revolving around that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and that's the thing. Like you said, they priority those ads, and that's the big thing. So there's not a lot of, you just can't just sit back and AOE to death and hope everything's going to be okay. That you'll be killing everything. That there are ads, and they all have priority. And I mean, BM has some good burst, but marksmanship really has some good burst as well, and you can kind of. You can certainly plan around some of those ads too, and save up certain things to make sure your focus is in the right place and everything else is ready to go on those high priority targets. But like you say, that's the key into a lot of these fights, is making sure that you're doing as much damage as quickly as you can on the appropriate target, or else you're just going to end up wiping. Yeah. I will say this though. Survival, yeah, nothing much has changed there, and I think what we've been saying all along is sort of playing out, that it is just a weak spec right now.
Yeah, I really thought there'd be some kind of hot fix just to give it a bit of love, but zero hunter hot fixes.
No, there's been none. I mean, I guess Blizzard maybe just seems to be happy with that we have two that are pretty good that people can use, and
but
that may be good enough for. I know we did have 3.
Honestly, even if they left survival as it was, it would still be inferior, but it would at least be usable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a hunter who was just a long-standing survival hunter, and even he finally caved and gave up survival this week. I think he was playing Beast Mastery, and was better off for it, I have to say. But it just seems like it's come to that now.
Yeah. Who knows what's up with survival? I don't know if they're gonna redo it next expansion or what.
That's what I'm thinking. That they're just gonna wait now until the next expansion and then implement the major class changes and I don't know how much they'll overhaul things, but they always make changes. So
Yep, melee hunter confirmed.
right. Well, we had another question that I saw posted in the WHU Facebook, and someone was noticing some potential pathing issues in the Tannan jungle, and so someone's from Pernil, I guess, says, anybody else having issues with their pet just randomly running off and finding stuff on its own to play with? She said, I noticed that I've had the biggest issue at the throne of Kil'jaeden, which is full of elites, by the way, so that's not a place you really want things to go wrong. She said, yesterday my friend and I were up there and decided to take a short break. We're both hunters. We sat far away from everything, down on that little slope you used to get up there. When we both came back, our pets were gone. Apparently they had found a stone golem on the other side of the hill to play with, something that was way out of range. I don't know. I haven't noticed any real pet issues in Tannan Jungle or otherwise. Have you?
Not really. The only thing I can think of is you had the pet on defensive or something like that.
Right. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't really noticed. The only thing that I find annoying that I've had problems with is that the entrance area to Hellfire Citadel, there's some training dummies there that are targetable and you can attack. And so sometimes I'll turn around and my pet will just be attached to one of those, just attacking it nonstop. And it's really kind of annoying. I don't know if you've seen those training dummies that they have in there or not. I don't know why they're there, why they put them in there, why they're targetable. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I've seen them.
But
Did it because they know we're going to be barraging all over the place.
Pad the meters.
yeah, I guess. I don't know how much damage you get, not even, but it's we'll do a pull of, some other trash and I'll turn around and my pet's not near me. I'm like, where is he? And I'll see him, he's attacking the pillar and, it takes him forever to run over and attack the target I want him to. And then then that target dies or the pack dies, he'll run back to the pillar and start wailing on it again. So just something to keep in mind there. But I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, why couldn't they just make it a static object or, whatever. Not, you know what I mean? Not something you could target. Just make it decorative. Part of the instance. It was a weird thing. Someone, Glacier Wolf in our chat room says he's had the exact issue at Throne. So maybe there's something going on there. Maybe there's something that's about the the Throne of Kil'jaeden that's off a little bit and affecting hunter pets. I don't know. Let's see. Pops Hunters. Haste versus multi-strike builds for marksmen. Talk amongst yourselves. I don't know. Is there,
Neither, I guess. Crit builds all the way.
Yeah, I don't know where you'd want a haste or multi. I understand multi-strike is a good stat. Obviously crit and multi-strike seem to be the big two for marksmanship.
Yeah.
And does haste even sort of get diminished once you get the 4-piece and you've got those instant aim shots? Does it play less? Does it become less critical then for marksmanship too?
Yeah, it's still the bottom stat. So, you still get benefit from it for your your stampede and stuff like that.
But probably not enough that it would come at the expense of certainly not crit.
Oh no, you'd never prioritize haste. No.
Mm-mm. Cool. Well, you know what? We are coming down to the bottom of the hour here. Unless there's any other topics you guys want to talk about, maybe we should just wrap this one up for today.
There's a neat little hotfix for the next time walking.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Yes.
So they hotfixed it so next weekend, if you do the quest to complete 5 time walking dungeons, you'll get a normal difficulty raid box in addition to the seal. So it's pretty nice. Maybe
that is pretty
trinket
good.
In there.
That is nice. Yes, maybe get a trinket or something interesting. Yeah, I hadn't noticed that. So, and I think the next set of time walking dungeons is going to be some of the old Wrath of the Lich King dungeons, which will be fun.
Yeah, don't forget to take your legendaries in there. Like your legendary cloak will work, and the legendary bow works.
Yeah, the legendary bow, I don't have that, but that's nice. Certainly in the level 70 dungeons too. Um,
And you can use some fun little trinkets like Deathbringer as well.
oh yeah, I still have that.
Yeah, I recently got that again just for time walking.
Yeah, I may have to try and go run that on do heroic ICC and see if I can't get that version of it because I just have the.
Oh, I don't think it matters because it gets scaled down anyway.
Oh,
So
it does. Okay,
to
so
a certain eye level. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So no, I still have my Deathbringer as well. Yeah, maybe I'll bring that out and some of the other stuff. I guess you could bring back some of your other. I actually have a lot of the gear. Um,
Yeah, you could use old set bonuses,
old
all
set
that stuff.
bonuses. Yeah. Although I forget what the set bonuses are for like tier 10 and so forth. I don't know if I want to do that if they're still relevant or not.
I
I'll
think
have
they
to
were
go.
just damage increases, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember like the tier 9, for example. One of them was like allowed Serpent Sting ticks to crit or something like that. But I think they changed that when they changed how Serpent Sting worked. But I don't know. I'll have to go consider that. But I've got some of the old weapons. But again, you can transmog the weapons and everything too. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like you need to wear these legendaries. It's pretty easy.
yeah. But yeah, and that's nice because the like the Iron Fleet treasure, those boxes are what, every 3 weeks now, I think, instead of every 2 weeks. So
No, it turns out they actually are 2 weeks.
are they?
It's
Okay.
just for some reason the cooldown on them is 3 weeks, or I mean the expiry date on them.
Okay. Because I don't know. I should be due for mine, but I haven't seen my second one come up yet. So
Well, I had my second one on Wednesday, and that was
okay.
because I got my first one the second day of the patch. So
Okay. Yeah. See, I don't know that I got them. I probably got mine because I was a little bit slow with the fleet, so I think I probably got it the second week. So that would make sense. So maybe I'll see it um, Monday or Tuesday or something.
my box this week it literally gave me I think the worst item I could have gotten from the entire instance.
Oh, what did you get? I remember you linked it before. It was it pants or something off the first boss?
Pants from the first boss
Yeah.
with like this the way the stats are split up. It's like 2/3 versatility, 1/3
Mhm.
haste. It's just it's
Yeah.
it's just such a bad item, especially since that's the best tier piece too. They're just like, come on, just throw me a bone here.
Yeah, but you're getting heroic boxes at least, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. See,
but it's still not usable.
I'm stuck on the normal boxes for the time being. So I don't know that I should expect much goodness out of there, especially since I got the one, like I said, the Blade Master trinket. So that's unless it's Warforged isn't going to help me. You can't get tier gear or weapons out of it. So most of my other gear is already, you know, level 700. Yeah, most of my non-tier gear is level 700 or close to it. So it'd have to be 695 or higher,
Yeah, it's not like the previous boxes where it was almost always an upgrade
right?
because it was a difficulty up.
Yeah, Glacier Wolf was asking, how do we qualify for normal/heroic boxes? Have we figured out what the formula is for triggering it? I know they changed it such that you can't get boxes that are higher than the level of raid that you're running. So if you're running normal, for example, you'll only see normal boxes, and if you're running heroic, you'll get heroic boxes. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the number. Like some people have said, you just have to kill Gorefiend and you'll get it.
Okay.
The current box for whatever you're rating.
Hmm.
So if you want a normal box, if you kill Gorefiend on normal, you should get it. Or it might just be like the other raid where you have to kill 15.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I got my normal box well before we touched Gorefiend.
Well, you got it because you pre-qualified for it because you had heroic kills
Okay,
from
from
the
the previous
year.
tier. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
That's why I got the heroic one because I had mythic kills. And, like I got
Understood.
it before I didn't even do any rating really. So So yeah, if you're only rating LFR, unfortunately, you're just going to get the LFR box.
Correct.
Except for the time walking, you'll get a normal from that. So, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that because, like I said, it's not like there's no upgrades in a normal difficulty, but few are far between. And if I get one from doing the time walking dungeons, it'll maybe help stave off the disappointment from not getting what I need out of my fleet.
Well,
box.
you can do the Apexis upgrades with all the ways we can get Apexis now.
I have been doing that, and that's
moving pretty fast.
That's a nice way to get some gear. It doesn't take very long at all. It's not hard at all to get Apexis crystals. In fact, I don't feel bad about. I want to get the mount, of course, but I don't feel bad about spending a few crystals on upgrades because it won't take that much longer to get the crystals needed for the mount. Plus, I have the mage tower as well, so that's a pretty steady source of crystals as well.
I hate to say it, but I feel like I'm like done with Tanan already. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah, a little bit. I mean, I don't run it every day. Certainly. I mean, there's still plenty of stuff that I haven't done in there, but I don't feel compelled to have to go in there every single day and run all those. I mean, I do. The one thing I'm very behind on, which is the Saber Stalker reputation.
Are you doing the weekly quest?
Yes, I am doing the weekly.
Yeah, the best thing for that is just go to the group finder and find a group with at least one tank, and then you can get exalted in a couple hours. Yeah,
so I just need to do that. And again, that's all related to wanting to get my achievement for flying done. So when flying is released, I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I thought we'd see that on the PTR by now. Because they said it was going to be just a few weeks after there'd be a PTR.
Yeah, I don't know what the holdup is unless they're going to try and string it out as long as they can. I mean, maybe they found a few issues internally with it that they hadn't expected.
Maybe. I mean,
with flying.
Can't imagine there's too much since you can use the feather to get everywhere.
True.
The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is there's this weird invisible wall around the Citadel. I don't know if you've tried to fly through there with the feather, but you just...
No, I haven't.
You just hit an invisible wall. So they're probably fixing up things like that.
Yeah, so maybe it's stuff like that. Like I say, a few invisible walls here or there that they're discovering that they want to try and clean up, so it's not an issue when it does go live. I don't know. Cool. All right, and the time walking, next weekend is when it starts, so I'll have to look forward to that. All right. Well, cool. Well, now I think we're over the hour mark here, so why don't we call it a show this week, and we'll come back in a couple weeks, and we'll try and get some guests. So, and you guys out there, listeners, if you have any recommendations for people you'd like to hunters you'd want us to bring on the show, let us know, and we'll be more than happy to reach out to them and try and get them on board. We'll see where the race for World First with Hellfire Citadel is, and if Roger Brown is available, we'll certainly try and get him back on and have him talk about that experience. Always good to talk to him about that. So on that note, you have been listening to episode 221 of the Hunting Party Podcast. I'm Dark Brew from thebrewhall.com and the Brew Hall on Twitter.
I'm Bendak from Eyes of the Beast, Blizzard Watch, and Bendak Wow on Twitter.
And I'm Ollie Thunder from the chat room.
Check us out on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, or at our RSS feed to your reader. And we'll have all these links available in the show notes.
Well, if you have a question or a topic you'd like us to discuss on the show, email us at huntingpartypodcast@gmail.com or send us a tweet at huntingpartypod.
All right. Stay thirsty, my friends. Remember to drink your dark brew lager.
Keep your eyes on the beast.
Siempre prestar la emoción de lo salvaje. Don't forget to pay your dues for the Horde. And come on, Method, come on!
Yeah, we'll see if they can make up for that lost time yesterday. They're pretty good at this.
I hope so. I've been refreshing and it's just not working. So.
All right. Well, good deal. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
See ya.
All right. Thanks everyone.
Life stealer, that's just the cost of being awesome sauce. A dues payer, a boss slayer. I rock out with my lockout I'm a hunter. I'm a hunter. Viper to cheetah to dragon hawk. No time to waste, 'cause I can jump shot. BM, MM, and SV. I can rock out any tree. Never worried about my threat, 'cause I've got FD and misdirect. Catching loose mobs in my traps. I never miss, 'cause I am hit capped. 'Cause I'm the hunter, not the marked. I'm the fighter, not the spark. I'm the kiter, not the kite. I'll top meters every fight. Raiding and cave, dealing death. Just me, my gun, and my trusty bed. Now let's begin with Illidan, Osirian, and Gil'jadan, Magdamar, Asgalor, Gruul, Cthulhu, and Razorgore, Onyxia to Ragnaros. Which one have we killed the most? Kel'Thuzad to Malygos. We even killed a Kama's ghost. Feels like we're getting close, all that running as a ghost. Anubarak, Yogg-Saron, Thorian, Sartharian, Nycthuradon, Sapuron, Lucifer to Sulfuron, Archelon, Amalon, Corellon, Algalon. The faction champions, the death toll rolling on and on. Garthale, Executus, Chromagus, and Charaxus. Moan, Lure, kill this. We won't stop till we kill our boss. I'm a hunter. I'm a hunter.